further through the strike, we noticed that everybody liked everybody.
The only red light district on wheels. Wanted it all my life.
You know, we had probably strikers from, I believe, 19 different countries. I think we spoke 7 or 8 different languages on the strike line. I mean, I would often remember that everybody would always have an answer to a complaint on the picket line. If someone said it was a cold morning, I remember a striker named Casey, who then would remind strikers that, you know, he spent many years in Siberia in a prison camp, so it really wasn't that cold. And then people would talk about the boredom on the strike line. And I had a group of strikers from Cuba who had been in prison for their political beliefs. I had one striker who was in there for 16 years, one for 10, and one for 8. So when strikers would talk about boredom, they would explain about what it was like to be in a prison.
Had to go bankrupt, almost lost my home. I mean, I'm so far into debt, it's funny. And I'd do it again tomorrow, just on the principle of it.
I don't go to the movies. I don't eat out. I'm going to Burger King is a big deal now. That's the big afternoon out.
But I never lost that faith, and we always said the faith of a mustard seed. You know, a mustard seed is pretty little, so you gotta have just that much faith.
In the summertime when she come home, she just lay down and get cool.
Well, my husband hadn't taken a vacation in 4 years and 9 months. But he could have, but he said that with me being on strike that he wouldn't, so that's kind of hard because he gets kind of irritable.
Yeah, she got a little more feistier. She's a little quieter. She could go in there and tear it down brick by brick, and then she go to more philosophical approach of, it'll be all right, the Lord's on my side, I'm winning, it's the right thing to do.
But now he wants a new house like Angelica said. So we'll see what happens.
Eso es unión, sentirse estrechos, pegados, unidos, sentir el calor del hermano, porque eso hace fortaleza en nosotros. When we talk about solidarity, we talk about family, we talk about feelings, we talk about we have to be together.
Una huelga cambia a la gente, una huelga cambia a todo ser humano, cambia, y yo no voy a hablar de lo económico, cambia moralmente a la gente, espiritualmente. Y la verdad, a mí me cambió mucho la huelga. Yo siento mi cambio en ese.
I just knew that I was going to last one day longer. I mean, if it was the last thing I was going to do, I was going to put the Ilardi's off the strip for what they had done to the workers.
When your copay gets higher and your boss is a liar, that's Ilardi. When your wages are cut by some corporate slut, that's Ilardi. Our unions are solid, we won't disappear. We've haunted you year after year after year. What's the name? Who's to blame for the shame at Frontier? That's Ilardi.
At one point, all the Nevada congressional delegation, the senators and the representatives, called upon the Ilardis to agree to binding arbitration, which they refused. Then the governor was asked to see what he could do to help resolve this.
I think it went very well.
I didn't think the meeting went well at all.
Why not?
Well, the Frontiers agreed to the governor's fact-finding process, but the Frontiers agreeing under total duress.
Ilardi claims Governor Miller implied he could put the casino's license in jeopardy if fact-finders concluded the hotel is at fault in stalled negotiations.
We can be held subject to discipline. The unions have no discipline action whatsoever. They're not licensed by the state, so this is kind of a one-way street.
It's a charge the governor hotly denies.
Now, Mr. Ilardi has chosen to characterize that as duress, which is his privilege, but I don't think compliance with the laws of the state of Nevada is ordinarily considered to be duress.
The fact finder ended up saying in a report after a long charade of bargaining that he was presiding over, that the fault was with the Ilardis, that the union was not the one that was at fault, it was the Ilardis because they took unreasonable positions. Until that happened, the public really didn't know who was right or wrong.
Well, I wasn't that interested the first couple of years, but I'd say after maybe 3, 4 years, I got kind of intrigued by the fact that we appear to have 2 immovable objects here. You had the hard-nosed casino operator on the one hand and the determined union and its members on the picket line every day and every week. And I began to wonder, you know, how's this ever going to, you know, come to an end?
Hotel manager. Close. Yes. I saw you got your sign up there.
The definition of a scam is somebody who crosses a picket line to work.
Graveyard's a whole nother story. It's a totally different shift. You see more drunks than you would ever imagine.
Who am I looking at?
You ain't looking at nothing. That's what you ain't looking at. You put that camera.
I'm looking at you.
No, you're in trouble. When the girls start taking off the jewelry, you know that something's going to happen.
You support these people who took my health insurance away. Come on, let's go. Let's do it. You go first. Are you crazy?
A long and continuing strike at the Frontier Hotel in Las Vegas has turned violent.
These are surveillance tapes made by the Frontier Hotel, showing what's happened as many as 50 times.
I've been attacked several times out on the picket line. I've been shot with a long-range BB rifle.
The culinary workers who've been striking the Frontier say in most cases they were being harassed.
I've been maced. I still have a chunk of hair missing from the back of my head when we had a group of people that came back time after time to harass us and have death threats.
We don't take baseball bats to people. We tell them what scum they are for crossing the picket line.
Then you protest, that's fine. I agree, it's great.
No, okay. No. You cross the picket line, you take it. If you want to stand around and listen for a little bit, I'll ask people. I ask people first.
No.
They ignore me, then I don't ask them no more.
We're not ignoring
One time I asked.
That's fine. That's fine that you protest. Don't call anyone name. That's all. Don't call anyone.
No, you were asked not to go in there. Don't go in there.
And I'm walking right
It's just
back
simple.
What's further in there? Another scumbag going to the Frontier.
The real problem is the media really isn't talking about the issues. They've tried to build a corporate, look like it's a corporate thing, and these big bad unions are striking this poor little corporation who makes millions and millions of dollars in profit. So what happens is that people get a different feeling when they see a strike. We're not for strikes. I mean, we feel it hurts the community, we feel it hurts our workers and the company we work for. But the thing is, when they push against the wall, then you got to come out at them.
5 years, I just want you to look in the face of somebody that doesn't give up. I'm one of those. We've worked for this hotel a long time.
Wait, guys. Look at what is going on here. You have 550 people with families, with children, fighting for their health insurance, fighting for it. And
There is a movement afoot in this country of the extreme political right that have an agenda that is out to ruin the American labor movement. We have to be prepared in the political arena to be able to test them and fight them, to enter that struggle, and then eventually win, not for this thing called union, but for working men and women.
Today's the culmination of 2 months of hard work. By the end of the night tonight, when the ballots are counted, we're going to be 90% there to putting a culinary union waitress in the state senate. And that's testimony to your hard work.
Give her a hand.
The head of the AFL-CIO in Washington has called Las Vegas the hottest union city in America, and I think in many ways it is. The union movement is definitely thriving here, and I think the Frontier strike has a lot to do with that in terms of showing that the unions can be strong if they stick together.
You never know what somebody's made of until it's sort of put in front of them. And those strikers were made of steel.
How's business today?
Not too good.
Not good.
Walls are really closing in on this company. And it's not just the legal stuff, the unfair labor practice charge and charges that are protecting the strike and the fact that they can't get the state courts to do anything to the strike, but it's also because of all the other things that are going on. This strike has so many different components to it. That's one of the things I think is really bothering the LRDs, is every time they turn around, there's a new front that they're losing on.
The food truck. I mean, how do you explain a person worth several $100 million deciding when he drove to work the day after they passed those pickets that he had to feed them because it wasn't right?
From the time we went on strike in '91, he's been feeding us up to this day, and he said he's not going to stop until the strike is over.
We never gave any consideration to how much money we were giving. We just knew that people that had been out on strike that long really needed some financial assistance. And of course, they also needed some help during the holidays.
Over the years, we gave out, I would say, 3 times a year, 10 tons of food.
Because this is not just for us, our contract, just a frontier strike, but this is everybody's, and I have learned that. And I'm teaching my kids that, you know, believe it or not, it's the whole Las Vegas, you know, this is everybody's strike.
Thank you for passing it on by.
I don't even know why they go in. They know it's on strike.
They just think that it won't happen to them, but one day it will happen to them. I was 1 year old
When the strike began.
when the strike began.
Now I'm 6.
Now I'm 6.
My birthday was yesterday.
My birthday was yesterday.